Well, it's the middle of August, August 15th. Gorgeous day here. It's been so hot the last few weeks. Today it was 59 this morning, and it's about 75 now. A little bit lower humidity, but fall is definitely coming. The weeds in the garden have taken over. It's amazing how they can do that so quick. But I gotta get in there. My cucumbers are pretty much done. I've gotten so many pickles made that I don't even want to make anymore. So I'm gonna get all of these pulled. As soon as the shade comes over this part of the garden, I'll be pulling these out. I've got a few cabbages that I'm gonna go ahead and pick. There's a nice red one there. That one I'll leave for a little bit. There's like 2 red ones I'll pick. And one of my green ones, I see the bugs got into it pretty bad. But there's a nice one there. And behind the weed here, there's a nice one. We had enough rain here the last couple of days. At least it filled the bird bath. I didn't get out and pick green beans this morning. If you saw my other video, took the dog to the lake and let her run for a while, so I didn't get my green beans picked. I'll have to pick those this afternoon. Most of my tomatoes are doing okay. There's a couple of them that well, they're too close to the big walnut tree here. And the ones on this end always look crappy. And they get wilty easy. I got some of my peppers are starting to turn red. I'm gonna try to get as many as I can red before I pick them. Something we eat a lot of is the red peppers. Need to pick this up. Most of my corn, I got this one little tiny patch here that's okay, but most of it got flattened by, this was all corn through here, and we had a storm come through last weekend that flattened my best patch of corn. I've got a little bit more over there, and it's starting to get some ears. It'll be a few days yet, but we're actually gonna get a couple of ears of corn at least off of it. That's one thing I've never had good luck with. Now that I'm retired, I'm hoping to get it all figured out. I've got a tiny cantaloupe coming on, but I don't know if it's gonna have enough time to ripen or not. Get through my jungle here. There's my, not a lot of green beans. There's some nice green beans on here. Not a lot. I picked them pretty good last night. Another nice one here. But there's my little cantaloupe. Pretty green yet. I don't think he's gonna have time to get ripened. But of all these vines going clear up into the neighbor's yard, I got one cantaloupe. And for some reason, even though they were all supposed to be cantaloupes, the seeds came right out of the pack. One of them ended up being a birdhouse gourd, of all things. Okay. We've got a couple of little teeny watermelons. The other ones were mush by the time I picked them. They were way overripe. This one is still pretty green all the way around, so I'm gonna let it go for a little bit. Then there's one right there, a different type. But the grapes, I am gonna pick some of my grapes. These are the red ones. They are tasty. And they're seedless. But the green ones over here are still pretty tart. But I did pick 2 gallons of wild raspberries about a month ago. Got those in the freezer, so I'll make grape raspberry jam like I did last year, which turned out very good. I've picked all my onions. The tops are all dying. I need to cut my chives and get those in the freezer, and my parsley. This year is the first time, I've been wanting them for a long time, was the Egyptian walking onions. And they finally started getting the little tops on them. So, but when they fall over with their tops, then they re-root and keep going. And this will be, a lot of people call these winter onions. I ordered them as Egyptian walking onions. But that's something, just onions that'll be permanently and they'll multiply. I'm looking forward to that. There's the one good little patch of corn I've got. And I've got some beets starting to get, I don't like my beets getting real big, but they're getting nice size right now. I can cut them in quarters or something, and I love pickled beets. But there's my ears of corn that are coming on. And there's some more in here. These are pretty little yet. I don't know, I may not get too many. My echinacea. I love my purple coneflower echinacea. They've seen better days. They've been here for quite some time. There's the grapes. Juicy. They are ready right now. Haven't gotten my fairy garden finished. Got it started. Some old statues that my mother and my grandmother had. Put a few plants in there, some old birdhouses, seashells. I love this little turtle. That's a birdhouse my brother had sent me. My pond, I never got my fountain in it yet, but I did kill one of them stupid ground squirrels. As adorable as they are, we had a ground squirrel and 3 mice drowned in the pond. And I got my basil. It's kind of small right now. I just chopped it all back the other day. Getting a few little banana peppers. Not a lot. I got a whole wagon full of grass clippings and hay. I need to, once I get this weeded, I want to put the mulch on there. So when we do till it, there's my surprise. So when we till the garden, we can get all that compost into the ground. Normally, I only have 1 surprise lily every year. This year, I put the little fence around it so the dog doesn't run them over. And I actually watered, even after I mowed over the greens. I watered it, and we have 14 surprise lilies this year. It's the most ever. My stuff in my greenhouse, there's Macy. Macy, can you say hi? The greenhouse is doing pretty good yet. It's still getting some tomatoes. These are the ones that I planted January 1st, on New Year's Day. In the house, I planted a bunch of seeds. Well, by the time this spring that it was warm enough to even put them in here with a heater, they were so big, there was no way I was ever gonna get them in the garden. But these were the best tomatoes I have ever had. The skins stayed nice and soft on them. I've got 10 tomato plants in here. I had to remove all my shelving and everything because they go clear up to the roof. Excuse me, and I've already topped them off, trying to keep them shorter, but there's still a bunch of tomatoes in the back. Let's see if you can see them back there. There's some. There's some up above. There's a big one there. But we were getting tomatoes by the 1st of June. Beautiful red ripe tomatoes we've been eating. We got so many out of this greenhouse that we were giving them away before anybody else was even getting them in their garden. And I have tomatoes and peppers started for, I'm looking at having fresh tomatoes in December. I've gotten a lot of plant lights off Amazon, and that's how I grew everything last year. So I'm gonna try to set it up so I have fresh tomatoes during the winter. And my rosemary is doing beautiful, and my thyme and the oregano is doing great. The mint, the lemon mint, I like. Oh, it smells so good. I never do anything with it. My nasturtiums have been doing okay. They always look so ratty when those leaves and the dead flowers, and I try to keep them cleaned up, but there's just too much to do. Got lots of peppers coming in. Peppers there. I got peppers there, and there, and there, and more in there. There's some more banana peppers. Got some little bell peppers. Here's a big bell pepper. My problem with these tomatoes that I've got in pots up here by the house, once again, the ground squirrels. They get up there and they sit on top of my plants and they eat my tomatoes. And they eat my peppers too. And I've got a few bunching onions. Those will be ready here soon. There's some of them I see already are. These were my Amish paste tomatoes, but see, they look like crap. The buckets just, I think, aren't big enough for this kind. There's other ones I've grown in buckets before that did a lot better. They got tomatoes. I already picked a bunch the other day and I've got those canned. I've got 8 quarts of tomatoes canned already. And we've been eating them constantly. I had spaghetti sauce and I like this. They seem to actually do better in the old tree stumps that I saved. They were hollow tree stumps, and I put my plants right down in them. They seem to do pretty good. I had potatoes growing here in boxes, and by the time they died, I ended up with 7 pounds out of 4 great big boxes. Not good. It's another thing I've never been able to grow is potatoes. My husband always talks about his dad growing beautiful big potatoes. And now underneath each of my tomato plants, I planted cilantro. It helps shade them so that they grow. And I always like my cilantro and tomatoes to make the pico de gallo. But these tomatoes did not get enough foliage in them, and they got that leaf curl because of the extreme heat we had this summer. Where the ones in the greenhouse had that extra shade, because when I put my greenhouse up, there's a truck going by. When I put the greenhouse up, I wanted it to protected by the house from the winter north winds, and I ended up putting it under a walnut tree. Well, lots of shade. So that's why I have lights in my greenhouse. My husband is working on, I bought a new greenhouse, and he's over putting the foundation in for that right now. When we start putting that together, I'll make sure and pass that along to you. We'll get a video of putting that up. But I'm gonna have to get the sticks picked up from the storm and get the yard mowed and get everything cleaned up, because we're supposed to get some really wicked heat again, right at 100 Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So I won't be doing a whole lot outside then. Well, you have a good day. I'll catch up with you later.